Howdy! I'm back again to share another video of my process with learning cover songs on the Handpan. I'm hoping that the more that I do these videos, my process will become more clear and it will help some of you to start to learn cover songs on your own Handpan. Today I'm looking at a popular song. It is Amazing Grace, and it's a song that everybody loves. It's a song that people love singing to. It's just got a really peaceful, soothing melody. This is a pretty simple song, and I would recommend starting off with simple songs. If you want to play cover songs, it's going to be easier to start with songs like Amazing Grace, You Are My Sunshine, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, than trying to do something like The Gambler or Pink Pony Club. What do I mean by simple is these songs have the same repeating phrases over and over. So it's just the same verse being repeated over and over again. Once you get more familiar with songs like this, then it will be easier to branch out to songs that might have like a verse, chorus, or songs that have three parts that might be like A, B, A, C, B, A. You can even get into songs that don't even have repeating parts that are like A, B, C, D, E. So I just think starting off with songs that are the same repeating phrases are going to be a little bit easier and less overwhelming. So the first step in learning a new cover song is to get the sheet music. And basically what I usually do is just search online. So I just search for Amazing Grace sheet music, and I found this example here. And the nice thing about this example is that it has the words. So it has the lyrics underneath the notes, and then another bonus is it has the letters above the notes to indicate what the actual note is. So not all sheet music is going to have this, but in this case, you really don't even have to read the notes because the letters are right there telling you what the notes are. So if I look on the left-hand side of the sheet music, that little flat note in the middle of it, and that middle line is going to tell us that there's one B flat. All of the other notes are natural. And so that indicates that it is a D minor or an F major key signature. So that area there is what they call a key signature. Whatever flats or sharps are there are going to tell you what key it's in. If you're not sure, you can look it up online. I do it all the time. I'll just search for 3 sharp key or maybe 5 flat key and figure out what it is. So that one flat tells us that it's in F major or D minor. And the nice thing about that is that D minor is the most common handpan scale. So if you already have a D minor handpan, then this is written for your handpan, and you don't have to transpose it at all. You can just read the notes as they are and play it on your D minor handpan. It is not a minor song though, it is a major song, and so you won't really want to use your middle note. You'll want to root it in your F note, and I will show you that here in a minute because I have a Kurd here. So this song can be played on a Kurd or a Celtic, and I'll show you that here once I'm done with this. But today I have an E major handpan by PanSmith Handpans, and it is not F major. So I need to figure out how to get it from F major to E major. And my process is to basically find the F note since it's an F major. And I'm just going to visualize in my head that that F note is actually going to be my E note, because instead of being an F major, I'm an E major. So my root note is going to be E instead of F. So that second note there is the F note. And like I said, we can tell because there's a little letter above it that tells us that it's the F note. So I'm just going to remember in my head that wherever that space is, that's going to be my E. And then I can go up and down from there on the scale. So that next line, that bottom line, is going to be my D sharp. And then that first space underneath the bottom line is going to be my C sharp. And then that first line underneath there where the A is in Amazing Grace, that's going to be this B note. So So as long as there's no sharps or flats in this arrangement, I can go up and down from the E note here, from my root note, and pretty much play the whole scale. And thankfully this song doesn't have any sharps or flats, so you can play it and you don't have to worry about omitting anything or adding anything extra. Like I said, this can also be played on a Celtic because it does not use the sixth. So it does not use the sixth scale degree, which the Celtic does not have. And so this is a song that you could play on a Celtic and a Kurd, and I'll show you that here in a second. So I determined what key it's in. It's in F major. I determined how to transpose it to my E major key by just remembering that where that F note is now going to be my E note. And so now I'm just going to learn the basic melody. So I'm just going to play it as it looks on the sheet. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. And that sounds pretty good. I could do that and it would sound pretty good. But I want to add a little bit more to make it sound more full and alive. I want to add some accompaniment. So a lot of the times what I'm doing when I'm accompanying songs is I'm just throwing in the major chord because a lot of these songs are in a major key. This pan here, I've learned over 120 songs on. So because it's in a major scale, it can play a lot of familiar songs because most familiar songs are in a major key. And so what I use to accompany the songs is a lot of the times going to be this 1, 3, 5 note, this chord here. If I use this note combination, it's going to sound really good because if it's in a major key, that's the major chord. So it just fits really well with it. So it's good to familiarize yourself with your scale degrees on your handpan. This one, like I said, is a major scale. It's an E major handpan by PanSmith Handpans, and it has 2 full diatonic scales. So it has do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, and then the scale repeats itself. So it has scale degrees 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. And so if you have all 7 scale degrees of the major scale, it's going to be a lot easier to play familiar songs than if you have a pentatonic handpan. If you have a pentatonic handpan and you only have 5 different notes, it's going to be a little bit trickier and you might have to use other handpans to get more notes to make it sound more full. So here's my 1, 3, 5. I'm going to basically use that all through Amazing Grace, except for there's one part where I'm going to play this F sharp. And when I do that F sharp, I'm going to actually accompany it with the low F sharp here. Everything else is going to be accompanied with the 1, 5, 3, 5. A lot of the times I'm doing this 1, 5, 3, 5 pattern, and it just sounds really pleasing. And a lot of the times I'll try and match the tempo of my rhythm here to whatever the tempo of the song is. So it is really helpful to do something what I would call octave training, where you're just playing 2 octaves of the same note. So here's my 2 E's, my 2 F sharps, my 2 G sharps, my 2 A's, my 2 B's, my 2 C sharps, my 2 D sharps, and my 2 E's again. That's going to familiarize you with playing the lower octave of the note, because a lot of the times when I'm accompanying stuff with a rhythm, when I'm accompanying the melody, I'm just playing the lower notes from what the melody's playing. So if you can do exercises like this, that will be very helpful to build that muscle memory for playing the lower octave when you're playing a melody. So here we go with the example of Amazing Grace, playing the melody with the rhythm going at the same time, okay? So did you notice that my rhythm was kind of going with the same beat of the song? So that just kind of helps it to bring more fullness to it. You'll also notice that I mix things up a little bit, like this part. That's different from the sheet music. The sheet music says, but you can basically do whatever you want. So as long as you have that foundation set of the basic melody, then it's up to you to put your own creative spin on it and make it your own version of Amazing Grace. So just practice that basic melody until you don't have to use the sheet music anymore. And you don't have to do it sitting down in an hour all in one stretch. It's better to break it up into multiple chunks. So you're going to remember it better if you can do it in little bits and pieces. So maybe practice it in the morning and then practice it in the afternoon and then before you go to bed. Maybe practice it a couple times or 3 times each day. You're going to retain it a lot better than if you try and sit down and learn it over the course of an hour and just say, I'm going to get this song perfected in the next hour. Sometimes it's good to give yourself some sleep too. Our brains need time to process things and consolidate learning. So just give yourself some grace and some time. But once you learn the basic melody and you don't need to use the sheet music anymore, then you can start to add some accompaniment to it. And like I said, you can just play around with the lower octave of what you're playing. I'll try and do an example where I'm playing more of the lower octave here, where I'm not just doing the 1, 3, 5 the whole time. So I just varied it a little bit that time. I added some harmonics. So the more familiar you get with different techniques, like harmonics, maybe doing them with one hand, finger rolls, fingernail rolls, little knocking sounds. It'll be easier to implement those in your song. So just practice things, and the more that you practice different techniques, the quicker it will be to add them to songs. So once I learn the rhythm and add the rhythm to the song, then I need to figure out how to kind of make it a song. So I don't just want to repeat the same thing over and over. It might sound good, but what's really going to get people's attention more is to vary it slightly each time. So I will just show you my version of Amazing Grace. But actually first, before I do that, let me put this over here because I need to show you how to play it on the Kurd. So before I play my version of Amazing Grace, I will show you how to play this on a Kurd scale. So right here, I have a tongue drum. This is a Rav Vast made by Rav Labs in Russia, and it is in the B minor scale, or B Kurd. So it's not a major pan, but if I use this note here, this is going to be my major note. So this is my D note. It's in B minor. Here's my D. That's going to be my major. So if I root it in that, that's going to be my major note. And this note here is going to be my 5th degree of the major scale. This is going to be my 3rd degree. So I have the 1, 3, 5 major chord, but it's not going from low to high like this. It's going from high to low. So it sounds a little bit different, but I still have the same notes of the major chord. And so I can look in this sheet music, I can determine that that 2nd note is my F. That's because it's an F major, but I'm in D major now. So that D note there is going to be my F note. So that means this 5th note here, this C, is actually going to be my A. So now that I've figured out how to transpose the F major to D major, I have a B minor handpan, but I'm not playing it in minor mode, I'm playing it in major mode. And so the relative major of the relative major of B minor is D major. So this D note is going to put it in that major mode. So that D is going to be my F, looking at this sheet music. So here we go, learning the basic melody. And that sounds pretty good, but we want to add some accompaniment. So when I accompany it on this, since I can't really use my middle note, it's going to put it in a minor flavor, and I don't want that side minor flavor. I want a happier, uplifting, peaceful sound. So I'm going to not play the center note. I'm actually going to use this 3 note, 5 note, and my 1. Since that's my major chord, I'm going to kind of use these notes as the extra accompaniment. So here's an example of Amazing Grace on the B minor Rav with some accompaniment. So it sounds pretty good. It just doesn't have quite the fullness of using the center note and like on the major pan here. And I'll just kind of show you what it might sound like if I try to use the major note. So it doesn't resolve there. It's it sounds better with the major chord. But experiment with your own Kurd and Celtic and see what you can do. Like I said, it doesn't use the 6th degree. It doesn't use this note here. So if you have a Celtic, you would be fine because this is the Celtic scale. And I never played that note. So if you have a Celtic pan, you can play this. So I hope that was helpful. I hope that it shows that you can play this on a Celtic or a Kurd scale. And I hope everything has been helpful today. I hope that this shines some light behind my process and the things that might be helpful for you if you want to learn cover songs on your own handpan. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. If you want to do your own version of Amazing Grace, I would love to hear it. So thanks for watching. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day, and I'll leave you with my version of Amazing Grace. Hey, real quick, I just wanted to add something that I forgot to put in the video. So this song, Amazing Grace, it has a special place in my heart. It's the first song that I learned on handpan, the first familiar song. So my first 5 years of playing handpan, I actually didn't think I could play familiar songs on my instrument. I was playing for healthcare and I was just playing my own songs for healthcare. And one of the residents that I used to play for passed away. And her daughter asked me to learn Amazing Grace for her funeral. Well, that inspired me to look at the sheet music. I figured out that I could actually learn familiar songs on the handpan. And then that led me down this path of seeing how many songs I could learn for the residents. But it really started with Amazing Grace. So I'm really grateful for that opportunity. And like I said, this has a special place in my heart. So you never know what's going to happen if you play handpan in a different environment. I would encourage you to go out and push yourself out of your comfort zone and play in different areas because you never know what opportunities might come up. I've had a lot of different opportunities arise, and I feel like playing in different environments has really pushed my playing in different directions that probably wouldn't have happened if I would have just kept playing at home or just playing in a comfortable environment. So play in areas that challenge you. You never know what's going to happen. But most importantly, get out there and spread the handpan love. If you can spread some peace and joy in your community, that would be amazing. If you could go out and play for healthcare and education, that would be also amazing. So we just need more of these instruments in healthcare, education, in the community. And I hope I can help you guys to learn some cover songs. Cover songs are really needed right now because they bring people together, and we need that more than ever. So if you can play something that helps people forget about their stress and start singing along, that's really what we need to be doing. So thanks again for watching. I hope this helps, and enjoy my version of Amazing Grace.